The following lecture was produced by the Foundation of Human Understanding. And now let's join Roy Masters.
Well. Slowly but surely we're moving out of here, excuse the mess. I've been here 23 years. Someone said, do you feel emotion? I said, no, I'm like a tortoise. I carry my house wherever I go. I'm home in myself. So, I'm here or there, doesn't make any difference to me. I don't have any emotional attachments to anything. Matter of fact, before you leave this earth, you better not have any emotional attachments. Otherwise you'll stay behind. Well, concerning emotional attachments, that's maybe that's part of the reason for your inferiority. I guess you're all here for that same reason, because I did sort of lure you in under the guise of talking about self-esteem, how to raise your self-esteem, instead of my usual negative titles. It didn't work, though. People suspect there's something afoot, Does anybody know what causes low self-esteem? They have names these days. They have names that take the edge off what it really is. Like powder room. I mean, I've got a lot of other names for that. It's nothing to do with powder room. We take the edge off what things really are like. We change the name of it, and it's more polite. Well, low self-esteem is not really being honest. And then try to raise your low self-esteem and raise yourself. It's never going to work. It's all a lie. What you have to do is understand, what is self-esteem? What is this image of yourself that's missing or lacking? And then when you understand, when you recognize what we're talking about, then we say, well, how does it get diminished? Because unless you understand how it gets diminished, I don't see how you're going to raise it. And the truth of the matter is, once you see how I'm going to make it even more difficult. Once you see how it's diminished, there's nothing you can do about it. That's even worse. I mean, once can you imagine finding out what causes things and realizing that what's caused you to sink so low, and then having realized it, I'm asking you to realize there's not a thing you can do about it. And so how is there a remedy to that? But there's a mystery, and until you get to that stage of realizing that of yourself you can do nothing. It's called humility. Who makes himself great shall be humbled. Who humbles himself shall be made great. It's a divine paradox. You can say, well, how could that be? There are paradoxes, and that's one of them. I think Jesus illustrates this story about the man who comes in and sits himself at the head of the table at a banquet, and the groom said, excuse me, who told you could sit at the head of the table? Go right to the... And the other man who comes in, who is an honorable person, who sits at the foot of the table, he said, excuse me, my dear fellow, why don't you come sit right next to me? Who humbles himself, who pushes himself forward, gets humbled, and who humbles himself is brought forth. People who want power, those are the ones that are least worthy of it. That's what's wrong with our society. If you have a person working for you, always pushing themselves forward and trying to make himself noticed, that's not the one you hire. The one that works in the back, the ones that you make a boss, the one that works in the back, who are never noticed, and he works diligently and is always reliable and honest. That's the one you say, come up, my friend, let me make you the manager. I realized that I worked in a diamond cutting factory years and years ago. We were all apprentices there, and 25 years later I go visit them, and he's the manager. And I knew he would be, because he was always quiet and reliable and honest and clean and decent. It was the only one there, besides me. So I didn't want to be there for the rest of my life. But he was a good guy. And there he was the manager. The other guys were still, still kids, playing pranks on each other and now the problem of your lower self-esteem. Let me start from the very beginning. It originates in pride and ego. The scripture says, very correctly so, that pride goeth before the fall. You try to make yourself something, you know what's going to happen? You're going to make yourself nothing. And then when you make yourself nothing, you don't want to see that you're nothing. So you try harder to make something of yourself again. And the harder you try to make something of yourself, the more nothing you become. But you don't want to see that you're nothing. You want to get everybody to see you as you are. And you're dancing around like a monkey on a pogo stick trying to get everybody's attention. And to make people see you in a certain light, enslaving yourself for their sake of their approval. Always trying to enhance the image of your failing image. As this ego trying to make itself something in someone's eyes. But even so, if you do make yourself something in somebody's eyes, does that mean to say that you're something because the world thinks you're something? That's even more stupid. That is to say that your mother calls you a stupid idiot, that you'll never make anything of your life, and then you sort of take that in. And so for the rest of your life, you compensate. You're going to prove to her and everybody else that you are somebody. And so, 20 years later and $20 million later, you come back and say, okay, Mom, see, I rub your nose in it. Eat dirt, right? See, and so you make her eat dirt, and you make her eat crow. And finally she says, my son, yes, I was wrong about you. You are a wonderful person. Look at my son, in whom I'm well pleased. And I'm very proud of you. So you puff up on that. Now, do you think that because you've made that person eat their words, that you are really somebody? Because now you've got them to say you're somebody, that you're somebody? You're a bigger jerk than ever, if that's the truth. Because the person who's addicted to people's ideas about them is a slave for the sake of that. He's not a free person. God forbid people shouldn't like you. You fall apart. So, like someone pulling the rug from under you. Your house shouldn't be built on people's opinions, on what people think of you. How many people's lives are built on... Let's have a show of hands. How many people are very much dependent on what people think of you? Come on now, let's see a show of hands. Come on now. How many people? Yeah, probably most of you. Right?
What is the culture you come from? Like in Mexico,
It's the culture. This lady says the culture. No, it isn't. No, because you find jerks in Mexico. You find jerks in India. You find jerks in Pakistan and in China. It's the same thing. It's an ego problem. Everyone has a cultural way of achieving status and bowing and scraping and getting, hero worship, parents worship, ancestor worship. I don't know, belonging to this temple and that temple, having a special guru, putting somebody on a pedestal and bowing down and worship them with the idea of them worshiping you. All of your relationships are like that. All your friendships are fiendships. You don't have a relationship that's healthy. You don't have a marriage that's healthy. You don't have a friendship that's healthy. Your whole life is built upon being comfortable with yourself and being acceptable and being accepted and being loved and feeling good about yourself. Your drinking buddies are that way. You get married that way. You go to the church that strokes your ego. You have gurus that you put on a pedestal. You bow down and worship them. Well, all you're doing is putting that person up, you see, and giving him money and honor and then making him say what wonderful people you are. See? In other words, you're the God. You made him God. But you're the God maker, greater than God. And so when they look at you and they smile at you, it's the God you've created in whom you are well pleased, for recognize you as God maker. Verstehen Sie? Jawohl. Yeah. You see, And it is all a stupid waste of time. And you're dying. And you're denying, and you're dying. It's all part of a denial process. It's all part of you becoming more inferior. The more you do that, it's an inferior way of being superior. And it's like a drunk. It's a high. And there are thousands of ways of getting high. You can be an artist and feel like, well, look, I'm a creator. Everybody worships you. Oh, what wonderful work she does. See? And now you become addicted to creating these silly fantasies for people, silly finger paints and drawings for people. And people think you're so wonderful. And your whole life is making silly drawings. Useless. As useless as the lies that you make them give you. The approval. See? It's all a manipulation. And it's all a process of denying, because you're losing yourself in the lie. If you put on a front and people like you, and then you like yourself because they like you, see, you're lost in the suggestions you've made them give you. What you're doing is influencing people to believe something so that you can believe it yourself. It's really stupid when you come to think of it. You're giving them the power to do it. You're giving people power to lie to you. That's what makes Saddam Hussein. That's what gives power to, the dominant one in every destructive relationship. It starts out then putting them on a pedestal and then loving you and rewarding you. How many times have you seen a relationship where the woman especially, she finds this sucker, this nobody, this little squirt, this characterless worm, see, which most men are. Don't laugh. Laughter is the noise the fool makes when he sees himself, right? This characterless nothing. Suddenly, he sees a woman who recognizes him for his worth. There is no worth. That's the danger of being loved without worth. All worthless people want to be loved for their worth that they haven't got. But they want to, it's a lie. See? We'll come to why they don't have worth in a minute. Because that's ego. There's your pride again that goeth before the fall. It tries to be a god, tries to be something that it isn't. And it becomes wrong and never wants to be wrong. And his whole life is simply fixated on fixing the truth about himself. So in other words, he's wrong, but he doesn't want to admit it's wrong, and he's going to fix it so he's right. So he's loved, he's worthwhile. He's going to fix this image of himself. See what I mean? And he's going to fix it by outer means. And he's going to always deny the truth of what he's becoming. And he becomes more and more desperate. Do you see that? The more wrong you become, you never get right, because right is something before God. Right is being useful. You are the creation of God, and you are supposed to be useful to Him. And in your usefulness to Him, you get reward. You get His love. And you have a choice. There's good and evil. And what is the good and evil? The good and evil is always what it was. It's still what it was. It's always been that way through the generations. You love God, you love good. You love His purpose, or you love evil. Now, you don't think of evil as evil. It's just your own good. You love to see yourself as your own God. And so anybody who recognizes you, oh, my hero. See? Oh, you wonderful Mayan, you. Is that right? Flutter, 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 flutter. And so we don't know where it begins first, but it's like love at first bite. You know what I mean? We don't know who fixates on who first, but you can see it in a woman so often. I've just seen it recently. She's like, This woman, young lady I know, she's just fit to be tied. You have to hold her down because finally she's found a man that thinks she's perfect. Now, being perfect means you can never be wrong when you're perfect. And of course now, he thinks she's perfect. That she rewards him and gives him a sense of worth for that. He has an idea that he is something that he is not. And these two are locked together like two slugs, I don't know. And she's fascinated. She's found it. She's found nirvana. Whatever that is. She's arrived. She's God. And he feels like he's God. You know, God and Goddess walking into the sunset. Sunrise, it's a sunset actually. And she's enamored, but once you grasp this brass ring, it's very hard to let go. It's ego. And it's the downfall of both of them. When I was practicing hypnotism, and that's how I came to know a lot of things I know, by the way, I performed little superficial experiments on people. And if you ever come to one of my seminars, I always show people how easily they are hypnotized. And they don't even know that they are. That's the funny part about it. You can make them do all kinds of silly things and they don't think it's silly. See? But people are very suggestible. And there's a superficial suggestibility, like take your shoes off and dance with a broom. And that's really nothing. But now there's another suggestibility. There's something even deeper than that, and I discovered it. It was one of the most dangerous things I ever did, and I didn't realize what I was messing with. Because you ever see those in those tabloid newspapers about the crystal that it can give you all your heart's desires. So, and you wonder why people will go for this stupid little crystal that's been $29.90, gives you all the powers of the universe. Idiotic, isn't it? But you sell it like hotcakes. People are that stupid. They're hungry for this power to influence people's minds, you know, and make people love you and have all the money you want. So I said, in this little matchbox, there's this. I was playing around with it. I thought, well, play another game. I'm so used to getting people to change their shoes, I got sick of it. As in this matchbox, there's the secret of eternal life, power of the universe. Well, now that suggestion it wasn't just floating on the surface of the brain. It went right into the soul of that person. That's where the danger is. See, a lot of you have problems. A lot of you have problems because you are superficially influenced by your traumas but your souls are not touched that much. Your souls are vexed, but you find yourself going one way while you really want to go another way. Your soul may be quite innocent. He's not totally violated. You may be violated, but your soul hasn't penetrated deep. I can help a lot of people like that. You can't help Saddam Hussein, and you can't help Hitler. Their souls are totally violated and committed to evil. The appeal has gone too deep, not superficially. You see what I'm saying? The appeal is to pride. See? You see, because that was the knowledge of good and evil. Remember the story of the Garden of Eden? The knowledge of good and evil. What was that? It's a forbidden knowledge because it'd be a knowledge that would make you God. Because then you could have this knowledge and you could decide things and be a god of things. See, and your creations out of your decisions would testify to your greatness, even as creation does with God, which creation is meant to do. It's called worship, and you appreciate the created things, the butterflies. See, it's like worship when you oh wow, I can never get used to a chicken coming out of an egg. You know what I mean? It's honor, it's worship, it's awe. But this is exactly what made Adam fall from grace, you see, and started the problem of downfall. In other words, the image of God was destroyed in him. And what was the image that rose in him? See? He had a bad image of himself. That's what he had. Low self-esteem, you're right. See? And the power of God was no longer in him. Only the power to continue degrade one another. Now the love of the woman is still the love of the woman helping. You notice that the love of a woman never helps a man. Doesn't. Not in this fault. It just ruins him. Tell me about it. You get married? I'm always worried on married people. You know, you understand what you're getting into? Yes, I do. If we talk, they blew in the face. They look at each other. They just can't wait to get home and get into bed and sort of stroke each other's egos. And then suddenly, the morning after the night before, in the face, ugliness. He's become a bum. She's a bitch. He's the son of a bitch. Why is this? What is love? How did love make two lovebirds into bitch and sons of bitch all of a sudden? How did that happen? It's because the two egos come together. Just like this young lady and this young man I just said. And you couldn't hold her back because suddenly she's got the power. See? To help him think he is somebody when he isn't. And all men are like that. All men are inferior and weak and characterless and looking for instant recognition from some broad. You know? And so, in that instant recognition is also instant denial. It's a very do you remember the first thing that happened? I don't mean to bring this in, but I got to bring it in now. Do you know that the first symptom of the first blush, the first symptom of man's fallen nature was he had a sexual impulse? See? Because one love, spiritual love, when a man falls from spiritual love, it awakens a sensual love. See? And so whenever ego is stroked, there's the sexual impulse. A man will have sexual impulse towards a dog if it would wag its tail. Because if he would accept the dog's acceptance as a validation for his ego, he'd have a sexual impulse for the dog. That's actually right. Two men in a jail cell, if one will simply look up to the other, immediately have sexual feelings for one another. The minute you stroke an ego, and that's the power of a woman, the more she strokes his ego, the more this burning the impulses towards the female, which is love for her, but it's really a form of degrading. She gets to his brain, he violates her body. See? She violates his brain. And then it creates this impulse to violate her body, as if that was love. And she has to pretend to like it. In order to hold on to the power, she has to pretend to like it and secretly loathe it. Ladies, am I right or wrong? Yeah, we're talking about fallen. You know, it's all part of this stroking egos and building each other's self-esteem. All you're doing is, I always say, it's my favorite saying, always remember the screwing you get is worth the screwing you're going to get. Is that right? Always weight in the balance. And so, having said all that, we see the first cause of inferiority as pride and the maintaining of our pride. And as long as you want to maintain your pride, you're going to die. And you're going to get involved with all the wrong people because none of the right people will play the game. Simple as that. The right people will always look like wrong people to you, and the wrong people will always look like right people to you. Just like the fruit of the tree, of the forbidden tree, was pleasant to the eye. So are all the jerks pleasant to your eye. See that? So you're the bigger jerk too. See? Am I being too rude, am I? Or is it right on the money? Okay. Now, you see the root of pride. Now you have another part of it. Once you see that you've been deceived, first you think you're being loved. And you think you're being glorified. And you're being screwed. You're being taken advantage of. To the morning after the night before, you're less, you're not more. You're a bum. And she starts calling you a bum. And you're a bitch. And he starts calling you a son of a bitch. Bitch, Isn't that right? Now you start calling each other what you are and you don't like it. So you go find somebody else who tells you how wonderful you are. It's called divorce. It's not going to work again. Because the one woman you find is taking you away from the other woman. And she wants what doesn't belong to her. There's also pride involved. See, the grass is greener. Somebody else's grass is green on the other side of the fence. It's more pleasant to have what isn't yours, to steal. There's more sin. It's more sexually exciting. So you see, but when you wake up the morning after the night before and you see this ugly person, this weak nobody looking back at you, getting weaker and weaker and weaker, bitchier and bitchier and bitchier, unmanlier, violent, wimpier, when you see this, you got to scratch your head. But we really don't, because we still, while loving and being loved destroys us, now enter phase 2, hating and being hated. See? But now you're going to blame. What did Adam do? The first, she blamed the serpent. See? We're always projecting blame. We're not going to look at, and that's another pride. Love is one form of pride, which isn't really love at all, it's lying. But the other source of pride is when love dies and is seen for what it is, deception, you start to hate the deceiver. And so now, but hate is hating wrong, so you don't have to see your own wrong. It's his fault. You're focusing. But this is also a source of pride, a source of being superior. And now you start berating each other, knocking each other down to build each other up. You can't get love, so now you start degrading each other, destroying one another for the feeling of being superior, and making somebody inferior to be superior. And now your children come into the world, and they see all this. They see bitch and son of bitch fighting each other. And they see things as they really are, parents being what they are. And by this time, the woman hates all men. So her son is also hated. She's now used to degrading men. You see, putting them down so that she can feel this contempt, this superiority of contempt, this arrogance of contempt. See, the power that comes from destroying another person's image of themselves. And so now, it's even the male children are that way. Because she has to destroy her own children to satisfy this need. Because one becomes addicted. One once gets addicted to putting somebody down so you can feel up. You become more ruthless, because to put somebody down to feel up is wrong. There's a guilt, a shame connected to it. How do you stay ahead of the shame? You put someone downer and downer so you can get upper and upper. It becomes ruthlessness. Never wanting to face oneself. Destroying the lives of others around them. See? Try to speak up. Now your own self-image. Now you come into this world and there's no more Adam and Eve. See? Now you come into the world of disharmony and dysfunctional family. See? Your father's a drunk, your mother's a bitch. Excuse me, language. That's the way it is. If I use stronger language, I would. Except it's just not called for. That'll do just nicely. Thank you very much. See? But that's what we're looking at. I mean, let's be honest about it. Now, the children come into this world and they see this. And they experience the put down, the phoniness, the lying, the man's fixation to sex and beating his wife up to get the support. See? And they recognize all these things and the selfishness and the cruelty and turning the children against their father and that sort of thing. They see all this struggle for power, the self-righteousness, the hypocrisy, the going to church to cover all that mess up. See, they're getting pride there. The father goes to the bar and the wife goes to church. Same thing, exactly the same. Nothing's changed. And so now the children hate their parents. And then pride enters through hate. Or mother chooses one weakling. Mother chooses a weakling. The one that sort of sees her in that light. And she makes him the apple, or her the apple of her eye. and ruin and destroys that person. But it makes the other one jealous for love. See? One gets all the love and gets ruined because the ego gets stroked. That child becomes totally dependent and ruined by that mother's love. He gets all the benefit, but he has to sell his soul for that. He has to see her in a certain way. He has to see her the way she isn't. And the favoritism of the other one looks at that and is jealous of their brother or jealous of the sister because he's getting all the favors. But that one is the nicest one of them all because he won't bend the knees of his mind. See? And he gets degraded and pushed down, and the other brother or sister's held up. Who knows what I'm talking about? Listen, let me tell you something. If you never got the love of your mother, you are the luckiest person that ever walked the face of the earth. But still, you may have the hunger for it in somebody else because you feel denied and rejected. But all that is because you hate not having it. And when you hate, you don't have it. If you could just simply not hate, you'd have it. End of all. That's the end of all of your image problems. When you see, because you come into the world, you don't know what went, but you don't know what transpired before you. You weren't there in the Garden of Eden when everything was, and the whole human race comes into the world with these strange choices. You come to the world and you're subject to terrible evils. And the only thing you see around you is cruelty and mayhem and madness and insanity. And the players don't see how insane they are. The players, your mom and dad don't see how crazy they are. Too busy blaming each other. He's bad. No, she's bad. No, he's bad. And then they go their own way and find someone who says how wonderful both are, and they're both rotten. See? And they abandon you. And so now you've got your own reason to hate. And now you see pride enters through hate, just like it can through love. And pride is reinforced by hate, just like it is through love. So that so your image gets worse. Your image gets worse through love, but it also gets worser, much worser, through hate. So the more you hate, the more you need love. The more you get love, the more you hate, because hate takes away takes away more than it gives. Do you see that? It's lying to you. It's weakening you. It's making you dependent. It's emasculating you. It's humiliating you. So what have you got? Love and hate, two horns on the same goat. Right? So you have to give up love and hate because it's not where it's at. That's the two legs into the ground, into the earth of ego. Give up love and hate. That's the passion Buddha talks about. He was right on, all that Buddha. If you read pure Buddha and forget about all the bells and dancings and prayer cloths and prayer rings and if you just read pure Buddha, he's got the idea. He's give up passion. But egos cannot give up passion. Egos depend on passion. More passion, more hate, more you dig love. And the more you dig love, the more hateful you become. And the more hateful you become, the more you need love, and it opens up the sluice gates of pleasure to enjoy pleasure more. Did I get to you just now? All right, now I've given you I'll just wait for questions now. The Buddha has stopped talking. Ceases communing. Well, 1 second. We just have to. Okay.
Oh, so
Speak.
Okay, it seems when you have the only self-esteem that is right, the only kind of know how to muster up everyone.
What's the
The world, the office, the church, your relatives, your friends, they'll say you have no self-esteem. What? Before I say, what's your definition?
I thought you were going to say something meaningful, but then I lost it.
What
is
your definition of self?
Look, I have self-esteem. I have total faith in what I know is right.
Okay.
I don't need it from you or anybody else. I like you to like me for your own good. It's good for you to like me, but it isn't good for me. It doesn't make me any... See? If I'm good and you respect that, that helps. That's nice. It's helpful to me. Means you do business with me and has a value. But not the kind of value that are normally associated with it. It's really better for you to respect what is respectable. See? When I want my kids to thank me for something, I do something nice for them. Well, I really don't care for them thanking me so much, because I don't need their thanks. See? But I love them, and I need them to thank me. Not for me, but for themselves. See? So, see, my idea of me wanting you to like me has nothing to do with any value for me at all. Yes, it does. It does in a roundabout way. In a much more beautiful way than I can possibly explain. As you see, it encompasses a lot when I talk that way. See? Who understands what I'm saying? So if you love me, don't you understand that if you love Jesus, if you lived when Jesus was around and you looked at him and you loved him and respected him, do you see the value in you? If you love Saddam Hussein, if Schwarzkopf came in the room and Saddam Hussein came in the room, and your natures would be divided right away. All the pikers would go for Saddam Hussein. See, because he couldn't stand the light of Jesus, because it would shine the light on what he is. It would give him Jesus would be thought of as giving him a low self-esteem. Because you'd be seeing yourself as you are. Well, that would be thought of and frowned on. Jesus is not a nice man because he makes you see yourself as you are. A bum. But Saddam Hussein, something has a different effect upon you. Suddenly, you come alive. You're Mr. Wonderful as far as his smile does something for you. See? So who gets the point?
What I'm trying to say for the most part is that I feel nothing particular about myself, but that is generally considered low self-esteem in the eyes of, I hate to say experts, you hate that word, but
my opinion of you, you're a big nothing person. Sorry to say that.
But I feel that.
You don't say anything when you're talking to me.
But I feel nothing.
I know, but you also are nothing.
Yes,
you're just kidding.
Really.
You're just kidding yourself. You're talking out of the back of your head. You gave me some stuff a little while ago that was supposed to be interesting to me, and there was no interest in it, no value in it at all.
I haven't read that.
I don't think you know what you're talking about half the time, so I suggest you be quiet
it's
for a while.
all about what you talk about.
I suggest you be quiet for a while.
Oh, okay.
You want to hear yourself talk like you're asking an intelligent question. You're not answering intelligent questions even. You got to see that. I'm sorry. You got to feel that pain. I'm saying that to you to create a little pain in you, and I hope it did. Okay.
Yes, about as much pain as what you said created in me. I understand now when you says that.
Did anybody feel the pain when I talked to that lady?
Yes.
Like I was talking to you too.
Yes.
See, did you ever want to rush to the defense of that lady? No. Good for you. But there are people who would, you see. Immediately getting together to support her. All right, sorry, I didn't mean to. I just want to make a little experiment here at your expense. I'm sorry, but
I understand what you're saying now about when you were talking about the guy, and the lady finds the guy that does a good sucker she can lie to, and the guy falls for that lie because they both get some benefit from it.
There's no benefit.
And once you to benefit negatively,
right?
They get from it, which love and hate are both the same, as you say.
They're both the same.
Negatives. And once you recognize it and you're aware of that,
yes,
and you start to see that, say for instance you see that before the lady sees it,
yeah,
and you start to change, she notices the change, then you know you got hell to fight then. But the thing of it is, as long as you stay...
Are you married or unmarried when you realize it?
I'm not married.
That's making a difference.
Wait, say that again?
Are you married or unmarried when you come to this marvelous realization?
Oh, married, of course.
See, the thing is, I don't mean to be rude or anything, but I don't think women are pretty anymore. I think they're pretty like flowers, but they're not pretty like I thought they were pretty. See what I mean? So I really would never get married again, although I think women are beautiful, like flowers. I like them as my daughters, but I don't consider them as objects of desire. See, that's only when you get to that stage are you the master of the woman, and the woman can a woman love you. Anything short of that is called marriage, and you know, screwing and being screwed, hating and being hated, until you get beyond it. But you got to go through it. You got to go. See, you got to go through it. So when I asked your question is, are you married or you're not married? When you discover that, it doesn't make a difference.
It does.
If you discover it, you probably won't leave the ladies alone because you start to look at them like I see them. They're pretty, but
Untouchable.
yeah, that's right.
Yes.
See, but the trouble is, you know, do you remember that movie Superman?
Yeah.
Do you remember Superman 2, where he finally decided to taste the nuptial bliss, and he had to give up his superpowers?
Yes.
And he couldn't stand himself, right? She
No,
couldn't
no,
stand him either.
right.
She could only love him when he was when she was untouchable.
Now that is a point worth driving home now.
It is worth
You know,
driving.
because I'm seeing the light of that because now
You see why I don't have many people here, don't you?
if I'm desirable, if I feel like I'm desirable to a lady, and
I can't see it, but it's all right.
No, I said if. I used to really want that. And matter of fact, just a short time ago, I really wanted that. And what the statement you just made, they begin to look ugly to you.
Well, not ugly, but just
Not ugly in that you're so familiar with their devious undercurrents that
that's
they.
right. You can see what you. It's like kissing a beautiful woman, and suddenly it turns into a skeleton. Or you suddenly see.
Because now, you know, going through all of that now, you know, trying to readjust your system.
It takes a while. It takes a while.
A long while. Although
That's
now,
why it's really best not to come to this realization until after you're married, because that way you can enjoy the nuptial part of it. You see, and you know, and if you pardon the expression, you could screw your brains out for a while. See what I mean? If you
Yes.
don't mean to be being rude.
yes.
But of course, you have to do that. You've got to get through that stage until you see that that's not where it's at.
So
Because you wouldn't believe it until you did it. See, there's nobody can convince you
right,
that's not where it's at. Because your ego has to find out that it isn't.
right.
It has to find out for itself.
And I heard something
I
you
hope you
said
think
earlier.
I'm not being too rude here.
No.
Okay.
You were saying that now I'm recognizing and being aware of this weakness that I've possessed for a long period of time. I heard
The
it said
sexual
before.
weakness is an ego weakness. They're connected.
Right.
It's an ego-testicle relationship.
Yes, it is. Now,
So you get your ego through your testicle, you see. I don't mean to be rude, but it's exactly the way it is. Doesn't matter. Pardon?
Since you were young?
No, I haven't. I wouldn't be married if I felt that way.
I'm just curious. You preach it, I don't know if you were always felt that way.
No, I wouldn't. I didn't know what I was getting into, you silly thing. You think I get into it? Yes, I would, because I still wouldn't believe it if someone told me. You see, because your ego has to go through those experiences. It's got to go through it to come out the other side. You just got to go through it. You're not going to believe it because your nature is calling, your ego is calling. You just cannot believe what I'm saying is true. So you're just going to have to find out. So the one that you marry to is always the one that strokes. See? Isn't that right? It's your betrayer. You're always marrying your betrayer. One that helps you to portray God and makes you feel like you're the God. She's the mother of your existence, of your ego. She mothers your ego. Animal.
if you feel bad, I'm trying to swarm her away.
Oh, what I do, but see, that's the inferiority. That's what makes you less and less and less of a human being, while you think you're becoming more and more. And eventually men discover that. And they've discovered that they've been dehumanized. They've become a dog instead of a god. See? And then they're finished with their wife's charms because now she starts to berate him. First she gets the pleasure of putting him up on a pedestal, and then feeling like she's the queen, and then the next phase, knocking him down and berating him all the time to feel like a queen, to make him a dog and make him feel like the dog that he really is. See? And that's the way it goes. She never wants to be wrong because there's a spirit in a woman that never wants to be wrong. Jewish mothers, Indian mothers, black mamas, just tell me they're all alike. Isn't that right, Mama? They're all mothers. But not all of them, because because I don't want to berate ladies, because they can come around. I'm sure there's nice ladies in this audience that are beginning to see, like men, beginning to see that it's the role they've been cast into, which they've slipped into without realizing what it was, in a choiceless certain way. And they're just playing out the same role, like Adam and Eve, the same, but just different actors on the stage. They're playing out the same lines. Everybody dies from the same disease. Discouraging to what, though?
When you say passionate, do you mean passionate in all endeavors? Do you mean excess zeal in all endeavors, or are you thinking in the social?
I don't understand the.
Well, you were talking about passion a while back when you were speaking.
I think it's very clear that what I was talking about. You were saying
that Buddha had it all knocked, and that passion was this
ego
bad
passion,
thing.
ego. See, for instance, I love my grandchildren. I love my daughter. I love my sons. I love to be here talking to you. I'm having a ball here, you know. I enjoy being here. And don't you see that I'm enjoying it? But I have a spiritual joy. It's not an emotional joy. It's not one I get high on. You know? It's not the feelings that come from below. And my ego sits on top of it. See what I mean? I don't know how to say that very well.
It's not a self-worth.
It's not a self-worth feeling. And I'm not here because I enjoy giving myself a feeling and giving you a feeling. See? It's not that at all. It's a deeper joy that doesn't have any of that in it. See? And as a matter of fact, you enjoying me knocking you off your high pedestal, setting you straight. There's another joy. There's no ego. You enjoying me knocking you off your pedestal. Because there's a subtle joy involved in someone correcting you and saying, hey, now look, you don't have to be this way anymore. I'm playing the inverse role of the serpent, aren't I? See, and there's a spiritual joy comes from hearing that. So, oh yeah, I see that's dumb. All this pleasure stuff and this love-hate stuff, there's no future to it. Gee, thanks. No one ever showed me that before. I'm stuck in this role with that when nobody's showing me the door.
I'm not clear on that passion thing.
How old are you?
I'm wondering what you mean by passion. Are you talking social passions? Are you talking male and female passion? Or are you talking any kind of zeal or?
Well, let's make it very simple. That love and hate are two horns on the same goat, and the passion I'm talking about will get stronger and stronger and stronger. The more you love, the more you hate.
Thank you.
The more you hate, the more you need love to offset the pain and guilt of hating. The failing. The actual failing of hate. So when you hate, you're puffing up in your pride. Any passion that pumps up the pride, whether it's anger, resentment, judgment, puffs you up and puts you on a throne. Like you feel superior to everybody. Or love. If someone says, oh, you wonderful person. Oh, you're so handsome. You are so... And you feel so good from that. That's what I'm talking about. Don't take pride in anything. Let me give it to you. The lost books of the Bible, there are one of the best books you should read beside my books Read those books. As a matter of fact, it's better than my books. But the point is, my books elucidate on all the Bible and the lost books of the Bible, because it dovetails right in. But in the Bible, there is the Testament of Dan, I believe it is, one of the 12 members of the patriarchs of the tribes of Israel, and each one of them are giving they're on their deathbed and saying goodbye to their children and giving them advice, which is like better than treasure, passing on. And they're talking about anger and resentment and lurid thoughts and feelings. Not quite the way I talk about it. I talk about it even clearer terms. But one of the things they said in there, and you'll find it in there capsulized, and your mind will focus right in on it, is if any man applaud you as a holy person, if anybody look up to you as if to say you're wonderful, if anyone applauds you as a holy person, do not be uplifted. Or if any person degrade you, berate you, do not take offense. Do not take it personally. Do not be uplifted, nor be angry, but have equanimity, evenness. Who understands that? Now, if you could, now that's the key. Now, that is as close to the key without saying ego, because in order for that to work, you have to be ready to give up pride, because pride needs those two. Follow that? So I'm giving you the missing part. You can't do that without... You're just about to give up the ghost here, are you? You just going to give up something, aren't you? Give it up. Come and throw it out. Upchuck it. It's killing you. Out.
I'm so tired of it.
Yeah.
I'm so sick of it.
But don't hate it. Just recognize it.
Oh, God.
It possesses you. But you go into it. See, what you've done is you've stepped into the role of it, haven't you?
I worked with it.
It's not good. That's your sin.
I know. I agreed with it. I agreed with it.
That's right.
And it's sick. It's so sick.
It's killing you.
I know.
And because you're conscious of it.
I know.
And you hate knowing it. You resent knowing it because you feel so helpless. I'm trying to tell you now. I'm coming to my other part.
What can I do?
Nothing. That's when you must do nothing properly. If you do nothing right, you'll do nothing wrong. Who understands what I just said? You've got to learn to do nothing right. In other words, be still. Do nothing right. Then you will do nothing wrong. Follow that? It's another strange paradox, I suppose. But the point is, that the God within you that makes you aware of your stupidity and your lowliness, do not hate seeing your loneliness. Do not resent seeing your nothingness. Do not hate seeing your fat little, chubby little, nothing little degenerate self. Don't resent it, because you are a nothing. We're all nothings. See? Jesus said, when someone said to him, "Good master," he says, "Oh, don't call me good. There's none good but God." That's not that. You don't sound like a Jesus to me. Look at me and go, "Look how wonderful I am." Recognize me. I just stepped up the chariot, the fiery chariot. Right?
Roy, let me ask you this question. Let me see if you understand me, okay? I came here because I feel like I got very low self-esteem.
I hate that word.
Yeah, but that's the way I feel, you know? Because
You
let me
feel
tell
it.
you, I dress like this all the time, you know, blues, and I don't care. You know, even my family, my friends, they say, you know, if you dress different and you dye your hair, you will look better, you know. Even my husband hates when they invite us to dinner, you know. I just want to be comfortable, but to tell you the truth, I don't care. And I say maybe it's my self-esteem, like I'm so low, or what do you think? What would be my problem?
Tell you what you do.
Uh-huh.
You go out, you come back in again, and listen to me, because I already told you what the problem is, and you didn't hear
Oh,
it.
the ego. Yeah. No problem. That nothing else. My ego.
And being angry. Do you know that did you know something? The love that we need from people, the approval, we can be so good at getting it and putting on a nice front that when people give us the love and think we're wonderful people, when we know secretly ourselves we're not wonderful, we hate them for it. But we don't dare even admit we hate them for it. But that lowers our self-esteem. And after a while, we don't believe anyone who thinks that we're wonderful. And if anybody says they're wonderful, it makes us it decreases our self-esteem. It makes us more inferior because we hate them for it. In other words, we start to hate everybody who gives us compliments. And we become so negative because nothing works for us. Who understands what I'm talking about? Oh, well, you see. Because when love is not real, hate is all it is. So all you have is hate to make yourself feel better. And it makes you worse. And you need the compliments, but you hate them when they come because they're all lies and you know it. Now look, it's a catch-22. You cannot win.
Wait till you stop talking.
Look, I don't mean to be rude. You're all dying from this. See? You're dying for the truth. And you'll know the truth and it sets you free. Problem is ego. The problem is pride. Now I'm going to leave you with that because once you heard what I have to say, you've got to be very, very careful. Now I'll put you in big danger. Because now you've heard this, there's a danger of you wanting to change yourself. Aha, now I know what to do. The moment you make the slightest attempt to change what is now you see, you're in a bigger trap.
Roy,
Yeah?
excuse me. I have a
I thought
question.
there was a voice from heaven there. Roy, this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I didn't mean to startle you. I have a question on companionship, not in a sexual way, but is it wrong to have companionship in a way, I guess, that you would share things, not like I said, not sexual, not anything where you're getting your ego stroked, just discussing things.
As a woman, what do you have to share except your pretty face and your body? Let me be honest with you. See, what have you got for a man? What do you think a man's interested in? Do you think he's interested in your intelligence?
No.
You got that to share.
No, it's not. It's not even about intelligence. It's just basic conversation. Maybe you have some things that you need to let out. Is it wrong to have companionship in that way?
It would be very delightful because the companionship and love is what it's all about. But show me a man that appreciates that quality that you are referring to, that's worth loving in you, and I'll show you a chicken with teeth.
So you're saying, Roy, I'm not married, but I thought maybe one time in my life, again, I might want to have, just companionship, but not necessarily for the...
Look, I want to say this to you. What you need to do is develop character.
Okay.
Forget men. Forget companionship. Because until you develop a character, what kind of man can you expect to be a companion?
That's
Somebody with equally lack of character as yourself.
That's true.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have to be worthy. And how do you do that? You got to make sure that you close up shop, if you know what I'm talking about.
So I work on myself. In other words, I just keep working on myself.
Don't mess with the guys. Keep yourself pure. Save your money. Don't drink. Don't dress in a way that attracts all the flies. I know that you can take that both ways if you like. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Don't cheapen yourself in any way. You have to learn to go it alone for a while.
Okay.
And get your act together, get your life together, start your own business, be independent, be a fun person, go travel, broaden your horizons, get an education.
Sounds like everything
become
I
a
want.
Republican.
Sounds like everything I need. Thank you so much.
Run for office. Don't look for approval.
Okay.
And then you'll be worthy of the approval.
Thank you.
You get all the approval you want, but you won't need it then. See? And you'll be attracting all the right people. And you'll live happily ever after. Well, see, you'll find it. Listen, if you lose yourself in looking for approval, you pick any guy that comes along because he thinks you're so wonderful, and you think he's wonderful, and you go that route, and then you end up barefoot and pregnant. Right? It is not the way. You actually shot yourself in the foot. See, you've blown your wad. See, pardon the expression. And I didn't mean for it to come out that one. But your whole life, you wasted your life shot there. You see what I mean? And you didn't wait for it to mature to come out. And you didn't wait long enough. You got too impatient for love, too impatient for approval. You got too lonely to fill the emptiness. See? You weren't patient for the joys that transcend those immediate feelings that are so important. Got to have a new car. Got to have a broad on each arm and get it down, man. You know what I mean? You gotta get past all that. Think you can do it now? Huh? A bit easier now, you think?
Yeah. Mr. Masters,
yes.
My question is related to an earlier part of the discussion when you were referring to low self-esteem and how you got that way and being in denial. Once you discover that you've been badgered and that you've reached the point of being dehumanized,
yes,
and you've passed through the stage of denial, where do you go from there?
Well, forgive your parents. And forgive your father especially for the failing nothing that he is. Huh? And then you have to learn to forgive men for not knowing what to do with women. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
And you'll be all right.
Thank you.
And God will love you through that. You'll find your strength through that. Not from people. Because if you forgive, he forgives you and restores you to your former grace. See that? But not without pain. And not without a sort of a lonely journey. Just to test you. To make sure you don't go whoring after somebody too soon, you know. You know what I mean? Yes.
How do we guide our children to, in a way that's not going to encourage pridefulness?
Be egoless yourself. In other words, find the way that I'm showing you. What I'm doing is showing you all that is wrong. I haven't showed you what right is yet. If you just see what wrong is and recognize it, acknowledge it, without lifting a finger to change it, but feeling sad and helpless, but not knowing what to do, leaving it that way, not wanting to be that way, but not knowing how to be any other way, as if to say, Lord, I don't know what to do, you've shown me this. Now, it's all up to you now. See, you know what happens? Very interesting, when you recognize in the light of truth, for instance, if what is in you is testifying to what's in me, there's something in you testifying to that. And at the same time, you acknowledge the truth of it, which is not to deny it. You've gone a long way to being in right standing with God. You're going a long way already to not being egotistical. But moreover, more important than that, is within that same moment of truth, awareness, within the framework of that, is the realization, which is also from God, that of yourself you can do nothing, so you've got to be helpless. And you've got to be helpless. You have to learn the lesson of helplessness. And because if you don't learn that, see, if you can't bear the pain of that, it means you haven't learned you've still got pride in you. You don't trust anything greater than yourself. You've got to understand what is greater than yourself in you in this moment is showing you that you're nothing. And that's true. And you're nothing because of pridefulness and rebellion and anger. See, and what you think of as love, glory for yourself. And you've got to see that, but you've got to see why, you've got to know why you see it, because God is showing it to you. But at the same time, it's implied in that seeing that of yourself you can do nothing, and if you will do nothing and trust in Him who shows you this moment. And without words, He's showing you, He's talking to your heart. I'm putting it into words for you. See, but within that same idea is the truth that if you will acknowledge that you do nothing and are helpless and will not help yourself, and we're willing to bear the pain of that helplessness as long as it takes, and not hate knowing it. You'll wake up one morning and your problem will be gone. You go to sleep one night, one morning, you wake up, and you wonder where your pride went. See? And then you'll know there's a God. Because then you will have all the fruits of that you could never give yourself. See?
Hi, I want to ask you a question. Remember, just a few minutes ago, you said the moment you try to change something, like if you've been doing something wrong and then you realize that you need to make it right or you need to change it, and you said the moment that you realize it and you try to change it, then you get far deeper into the problem.
Yes.
Why? Why can't you just change it?
Because you're not God and you can't change yourself. You're playing God again, and the problem, as I said, the problem is ego, and the problem thinks it can. It's not like a little choo-choo train that I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. Baby, I couldn't. You know what I mean? You can't. Jesus said it. You cannot change one white hair black and one black hair white. You can't do it. You can't add 1 inch to your height. You can't do that. You're going to have to realize. How long does it take you for you to realize that you cannot? Look, let me tell you this. It's simple. See if you can get it through your noggin. That of yourself you can do nothing. The Father within you, He doeth the things that need to be done. Then you rely upon that. And when you know that, you'll find the truth that will make you free. When you really know that, not because I said so. Well, most of you have understood what I'm saying because you've been through all these things. You've been through all the trials and tribulations of struggling and raising yourself up by your bootstraps and falling into a bigger hole, cleaning up the mess and making a bigger mess, and still somebody's cleaning up your mess and it's you. You know what I mean? You've already gone through all that. I mean, and you should, try one more time to see if you can make one white hair black and one black hair white. See if you can do it. Go ahead and do it. He waits for you. You're not going to be damned forever if you try it a couple more times. Just burn yourself out. And when you used up all your energy and you can't do it anymore, then you'll cry. Some people have to sink as low as that. Some people don't. It's good for some people to sink right to the bottom because there's only one way up then. Then they have to cry help. It's very humbling to cry help, Lord, when you think you're already Lord yourself. See?
What about changing your, like you were talking about, changing your character? That's not considered in the same genre?
Same thing. Can't do anything. Why can't you just see?
I thought you told her to develop her
Look,
character.
But you develop your character. That's how you do it. That's how you do it.
It's not fixing something.
No, it's not fixing something. I mean, look, if you're a faggot, you're a faggot. Just face it. Just say, oh, I'm a faggot. And I don't like that. I see that's wrong. At least you're on the right track, right? A lot of faggots don't see that they're faggots. They take pride in faggotry. But you see, with some of them, see that? And if you could just get the hang of it, see? If you could just see whatever problem you have, an alcoholic, okay, I'm an alcoholic. I see that. And I see that it's wrong. And I don't know how to change it. See, it dawns you. And you don't resent seeing that you're wrong. That it's wrong. And what are you doing? I'm escaping. What am I doing? Denying. I'm denying that I'm wrong. What am I doing? Denying I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I'm not running anymore. But then you start to feel pain. When you stop denying, you start accepting it. When that polarity changes, the polarity of your consciousness changes, you start automatically being incompatible with drinking, with faggot friends. See? You start being incompatible immediately. They see you looking at them weird. You know, you looked at them weird before, it was okay, but not good. You know? But they don't want to come near you, because you're looking at yourself, you're looking at them, something strange is going on inside you. Yes?
Usually people say that you don't have willpower, that's why you can't give up drinking or you can't give up smoking, and you're not disciplined or...
Well, but you don't want any willpower. The only will you need is to will the power you need. It's not your willpower, it's thy will be done. You see? That's the only decision you can make in your life that's worthwhile. It's the master key to all decisions. Is thy will be done. See, Jesus said it. My Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, not my name. Thy kingdom come, not my will be done, but thy will be... See how that? There's your ego going right out of the window. You see? Now if you repeat this prayer with a full awareness of what it's saying, not just rote, like, you know, now I lay me down to sleep, little Bo Peep, you know. You know.
I have a question. How can you control your emotions? Like, it drives you to do things you don't want to do.
But like I said, I'm telling you right now, if you just...
Oh, okay.
Ego, just don't you see what pride does? It enters into league with emotions and uses and it poisons the emotions.
But it controls you. I mean, it drives you to do certain things that you don't want to do.
Yeah, well, but
and it causes pain.
Well, you understand that once you fall into the pride, once you fall into your emotions and awaken the emotions and the feelings that serve the ego, well, that emotions connect you to that which has brought you to the state of pride. Don't you see, when people appeal to you to do something you shouldn't do, you can feel your heart beating. You can feel the excitement. You can feel the feelings rise and you fall. Feelings rise to envelop you and capture you. And that's where the ego, and then the ego in its fallen state, in its decadent state, lives through those emotions. It escapes those emotions, and those emotions have to be activated by the temptation itself. The emotions are connected to the temptation, and the ego is stuck in the emotions, and it's afraid to come out of the emotions, otherwise it would see itself. See, it needs those emotions. It needs those emotions stirred up by the temptations of life, and the evil has you in its grasp.
Is it okay to have a little ego?
She says, is it okay to have a little ego?
No, for ambition. Like, you know, when you want to go for your work, you have to have an ego to go for something,
I don't have
real
that.
work.
I do better without an ego. Would you like to see an ego at work here? Or would you rather see me as I am? Would you like to see my divine ego at work or my ego at work? Which is better? Divine. People would love to see divine ego at work in you?
Yes.
See? Just because you think you can't function without some ego, you see. But there's a higher ego, a divine ego at work that you must serve. And if people tell me I'm wonderful, well, maybe I am. Because after all, God made me wonderful. but I don't accept the fact that I'm wonderful. It's God that's why I step aside. If you understand what I said before about people saying how great you are and how wonderful you are, and you just puff up on that, it's like you intercept what is meant for God. But if you step aside, he receives the glory. He rewards you with more talent in secret.
Roy, I once heard ego stands for edging God out.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, you play with words like that. Ego is the sense of I am. The sense of I that is the moderating factor between the forces of the spiritual forces of good and the natural world and the supernatural ego, the spiritual evil world outside you. It's the sense of I and perverted I am. Follow that? Puffed up. But it's a sense of I, ego, as what the word ego is, Freudian, I. And it stands as a moderating factor. And if you love what's right, it has a moderating factor on your emotions and your decisions. It gives a clarity to what you do. It has an influence over your body, an upgrading influence. But if you fall from that, if you fall from the power that gives you that power to influence, so your ego is subject to God. And if it is, the body is subject to you. And it's not subject to the world. It's upgraded. You fall away from that, then the ego falls away from God, and now it's backwards. The body is subject, and the ego is subject to the body. Right? And that's why you can't control yourself. Big fat ego. Yeah? You're angry?
No.
Never angry?
Sometimes. I don't feel it. I don't feel it. I don't see myself with ego.
You don't?
No.
Well, but why don't you have any control of yourself? Listen, you're a neophyte in this.
Excuse me?
You're a neophyte, meaning you're just you're just hearing me for the first time, basically, roughly.
No, I started about 6 months ago and listened to your program.
Yeah, you got a long way to go. You got a long way to go. You're just when you start on this journey, you're gonna see things about yourself you never dreamed, you never saw before. You're in a kind of sleep. Everybody in this room is in a kind of trance. Mm-hmm. It's like a veil. It's like a veil, and you know that you can't see all you need to see about yourself. There are invisible forces controlling, influencing, guiding you, shaping your destiny.
I was asleep for many years, that's why.
Yeah, but you still are asleep. Yes.
I'd like to know what you think of, or what process you go through in, not you, but specifically, but
people.
In general, people, in determining what they're going to do as a career, because we're talking about ego and esteem. You know, what differentiates somebody being an employee?
What do you like to do? What do you like doing?
I have a lot of things. I mean,
do what you like to do. Don't do what you don't like to do.
Okay, how do you know when your ego is getting involved in wanting to do something?
Just do it.
Let's say starting a business that's going to be a major business in the world, and you're going to do that because...
How do you know where the ego creeps in?
Right.
Well, all I can say is your heart is pure. Because if your heart isn't pure, you'll never know anything. See, the truth is, if your heart is set on the kingdom, if you're a searching person, I'm assuming that you're all searching people, that you want something, you want to know something more, want to know the reason why you exist. You want to know the purpose for which you're created. That's in you. If it's in you, and you go through life and you start a business and you're doing all the good things and normal things that people should be doing, you will start to notice anything that takes you off course, blows you off course, immediately becomes apparent to you. It's very simple. I remember little things like I did a little something that was, well, rather cute. And I don't remember what it was. All I remember was a little accomplishment of some kind. And I remember this, standing back and going, puffing up You ever took a deep breath and you got a little puff with pride, and my brain hurt immediately. I said, like 14, 15 years old. What's this? I didn't do that anymore. Now, I didn't know anything about ego. I didn't know anything about pride. And then I'd laugh. Sometimes I'd laugh, and then I get a headache because it was artificial laugh. I was getting too much out of my laughing. See? Got it? Getting high on laughing. I saw my wife laugh there. She was telling a joke and she got so high on her own joke she almost wee in her pants. You ever see people get that way? They get caught up in their own laughter. See? I don't mean to be rude, but the point is, these are very graphic examples. You get high on the things you do. But you see, she didn't notice that. I did. If it was me laughing like that, I'd see it. See the difference? Because I'd catch it right away. Even though I didn't know it was ego, it was counter to my secret motive, my interior motive. Who follows that? Now, there's no benchmark. There is no benchmark other than that. You either have it or you don't. And if you don't have it, you'll never know whether you are ego or not. And you'll die in your mess. You either have it or you don't. And if you don't have it, you'll never know the mess you're in. You won't know whether you're laughing yourself into the grave. Because even a simple laugh, and I don't want to make it too dangerous for you to live, but I can tell you, it's a journey which requires lots of observation and discipline and a total modification of everything you are. Even the way you laugh and the way you smile, the way you walk, the way you breathe, the way you puff up, the way you think. See? Who understands it? And if you want, that's a journey away from low self-esteem. See? To do the will of the Father that sent you, but you are got to be fitted for that. See? And you'll always be having that the Holy Spirit will always be there teaching you, guiding you, showing you, making you conscious of every thought, every breath, every morsel of food that you eat. When you eat food, if it goes to support ego, you get fat. It's very simple. And then you'll have an eating problem. The more you eat, the more you want to eat. Because you start to feel guilty from eating. Then you start to eat not to feel guilty from eating. And drink to not feel again drink. See? And then you'll be the life and the soul of the party. And you have to make a fool of yourself and everybody looks at you. But you become addicted to making a fool of yourself. But you don't know you're a fool of yourself because everybody's watching you. That's all you care about. See? You can go 1,000 different ways. How many ways you want to go? I can tell it to you. There's a million ways you can go. And every one of them is a trap. And every way you go will split into other ways. And you see, I don't know if I can help the world very much, and I don't know if my program will be in the air very long because I can't help talking the way I am. That's the way I am. So, because I think time is coming when we people are going to have to start, stepping up to the plate. You've had your fun, you sexed yourself to death, or whatever it is you've been doing. You drank yourself to death, you drug yourself to death, you've been partying, you've been to all the religions. Now do it right. And it's much easier, because you don't have to do anything. See? You just have to be aware. And you want to be aware, awake, so you can acknowledge anything that's true. Well, but just be aware and not in denial. And when you're not, then you receive the information that will make you free of what you see. That's all. I mean, it's very simple. Be innocent, childlike. Who gets the drift of this? You can walk out of here. It's not hard. Don't think, what's this Roy Masters? What trip is he laying on me? You've got nothing to do. Nothing. Grace is an unmerited gift. Is that right? Isn't that what your Christian teachings Is that not Christian teaching? And merited gift. The Father doeth the works. Just get out of the denial. Then you stop being ego. Then you stop being a conduit for the evil, and you become a conduit for the good. As long as you're in denial, you're on the bad guy side. See? He'll pump you up to high heaven. Suits his purpose beautifully.
Right. Can I, just getting back to that question.
Oh yeah, I forgot you.
That's okay. People actually don't succeed in the world because they see this happening on a subconscious level. So they self-sabotage themselves.
Often that's true.
And, I mean...
They sabotage their own success because they know how to deal with it.
Right. There's a very fine line that it seems that you need to walk on below that threshold and above that threshold where you're... But it's not a state of... it's not really an intellectual state that you're in. And I'm experiencing this now. It's actually a state of being, and not knowing this, but just being in that state. But I still have conflict with that in my head, see? And I still have my ego, and I don't think that the ego can necessarily be destroyed, only just observed and
just adjusted.
And kept on check.
Yeah.
But now I'm always in the process of intellectualizing. Okay, what am I going to do with my life?
Stop talking to yourself.
I want to do something.
You see, there's people walk. It reminds me of the guy walking down the street. You know, if he says that to me, I'll say that to him. I'll skip that so and so. Yeah, let me see what I'm going to do tomorrow. Really, I'll say to myself. And I hear people talk. I'm not used to thinking like that. People actually think to themselves, now what am I going to do with myself? And so the voice comes back, okay, suck your big toe. I mean, why don't you get out of the habit of talking to yourself? It's silly. I mean, you see you got a problem, why can't you just see that you got a problem and you don't know what to do? Don't say, I don't know what to do. Just see that you don't. Can't you see a flower without saying, that's a flower? If I didn't say it was a flower, it wouldn't be a flower. There's ego again. You have to affirm it's a flower, otherwise it wouldn't exist. See? You have to create the reality because it's not enough that it's there. That's right. My wife used to do that to me. She used to put me on a pedestal and see that I'm good. But she would affirm that I was good. It wasn't good enough that I was good. She had to affirm it. See? You understand how that is? She had to spoil the good that was there. It's not enough that a child has the talent to play the piano. Mother has to force him to play the piano to glorify mother. She can't let that testify to the good that isn't her. See? We're living in one huge, insane asylum. People they walk and talk sort of intelligent. You wind them up and they make certain noises.
I have a question. In your relationship with people, let's say you refuse to stroke the egos. I mean, like if you don't tell them how wonderful they are, what if they turn around and they go and find somebody who will tell them that? Then what happens?
Good luck to them.
What if you're like married to them or something?
Good luck to them.
Even then?
Yeah. Good luck for you too. You don't want to be his whore. Let somebody else be the whore.
That's true.
Simple. You get rid of what you shouldn't have had in the first place. Okay. Count yourself lucky.
Thank you. I'm blessed.
She thought she was losing something. Of course, it's a little difficult because all of a sudden you feel insecure. You have got this little game that you're playing with each other, intrigue. And suddenly he walks out of your life and plays a game with somebody else and left you holding the bag, so to speak. All right, so what? Now you get adjusted to it. You'll be all right. Don't you go looking for something and just to find that character, learn to live without that ego stroking, and you'll become a better person. If you don't look for the love of the world, God will love you. I have to tell you. You may not realize it for a long time, but you become different.
My question is, at the point of death, I heard you say once, wherever you are when you die, that's where you will be.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on that?
No. If you're on the moon, you're on the moon, and you're on the earth, you're on the earth. And so it depends on if you get on the spaceship and you go to the moon, you're there. And then someone takes your spaceship away, you can't get back. Your body's the same way. If you use your body if you use your body to come to the right place, while you're in your body, if you come to the right side if you come to the good side of yourself, the body is a bridge. If you go to the bad side, if you go to the emotional side, you go to the attic. So you go to the attic, or you go to the basement. If you go to the basement of yourself, and then you die, and the body falls away, the bridge is gone, and that's where you are. There's no way back. While you're in the body, do the right thing. Even Socrates, he lay down, ready to die. He says, by the way, I owe a chicken to someone, make sure he gets it. It was a very important thing to him. Okay? He owed a chicken. He owed a chicken to someone. But he didn't forget that. It was insignificant, but it was proper. Don't cheapen yourself for anything. Okay? Don't sell your soul for a mess of pottage. Be right with everyone. Because someone's watching. Okay? There's an accounting going on.
For more information, please write to Post Office Box 1000, Grants Pass, Oregon 97528, or call us toll-free at 1-800-877-3227. You may also visit us on the World Wide Web